this band called Vader Jakob in Grahamstown, just protesting against the state of emergency and the apartheid system. And we did some conscription campaign gigs.
But I know what I feed when I fill those forms. And can you tell me what shapes this world I feel deformed in? Supply their lights, white security and water. Bring the peace, lay the spies, so much in order.
The entire concept of the band was against the political system, and that's how it started with Vader Jakob. And it kind of evolved from there into Manhole and from there into like Jimi Presley, because the political situation changed. That was the time that PW went out of power and Mandela came out of prison. It was the first thing that happened when we got to Joburg. We watched Mandela walk out of prison.
Hitting in the face, you'll still be there. Raper in the cells, you'll still be there. Shocking to death, you'll still be there. Stronger than before.
Grahamstown was a very strange place to be in. There was a township on one side and the university on the other, and they used to shine lights from the Grahamstown monument across the university onto the township, spotlights. So it was like being in a war zone. But there was a lot of anger around. It was a very strange situation. There were marches on campus and police used to shambok us, and we were very angry.
How can you sing about peace and love in a country where war is raging? There's two sides to life, and then there's the fence. It's easy to climb, it's a cinch if you're blind.
It was a mixture of sort of taking punk and industrial music from Europe and mixing it with the South African context of anger and wanting to say something against the system. And we didn't have many instruments, so we played on things like car springs and bits of metal. Most of us couldn't play music, so we were just bashing on things to make a noise, and it was kind of angry young men. We did use a lot of aggression and military sort of uniforms and armbands in our performances and in the way we dressed. And yet what we were trying to say is we don't like that stuff. You know, we're into peace and love. And it was often misunderstood. I think a lot of people knew that we were postgraduate students, most of us, and it was tongue-in-cheek, and it was trying to say things opposite to the way we might have projected it. We believed that you can change the window dressing, but actually people need to change. You can't just change political systems. What we were singing about then is still relevant, although the political situation's changed.
I think there was no seminal question. I think there was a lot of social commentary.
Maybe we weren't too clear about where we wanted people to go, but we wanted people to change.
We had one very, very funny gig is where the owner of the nightclub ran around to put toilet paper around the fire extinguishers and then sprayed it with water continuously through the gig because he was so scared that the water would go off. I think it just started becoming a problem when we ended. I think people started becoming aware of the danger involved, especially since we started having indemnity forms to do.
I know a lot of people did complain about the smell of perfume. It did become a bit sort of stifling.
I remember noting wryly posters around the venue saying that the band is not responsible for death or injury caused by the performance.
We were very lucky that we didn't actually put one of the sparks from the air grounds into someone's eyes, because we used to ground straight into the audience.
And we did throw about a litre of petrol into the feet where people were dancing and set it alight. Nobody ever caught fire. It was quite awesome.
I think one had to observe that there was inflammable liquid and people riding around in chains and a lot of spark. And I think you assume, if you come from a middle-class suburban background, that somebody else has taken care of the safety. And you think retrospectively that probably wasn't the case at all.
The more radical we were, the more these radical club owners wanted us to come and play. I think. There was a guy who he went and bought this massive strobe, so that it could really blow people's minds when they were watching us to have the strobe. But except that every time it went on, it shorted out the computer. So that was the end of the song. It was the worst gig we ever did.
There were performance standards that even then wouldn't have been allowed in any mainstream venue, certainly not internationally. But that was very much part of the intrigue, part of the outsider subcultural rebellion of probably largely middle-class people who needed to escape from the confines of the political environment and their own social environment.
We had one person who tried to climb up the speakers during the gig, and he got kicked off the speakers and then fell to the ground, and then all the girls in front of the stage started kicking him, and he sort of got out of it. And he was there the next weekend with a big smile and said he had the best time ever. And there was probably a rite of passage there, and he actually sort of went and AWOL'd from the army to come and join and watch the next gig. We just found their head and we said we need a GIMP, and they had interviews to see who they thought was the best GIMP for the evening.
Strangely enough, people wanted to be victims, and they would queue up to be wrapped up in plastic and barbed wire and beaten and punched and chained to the stage and held in front of the sparks and basically punished. I don't know why that appealed to people, but it did appeal to people too.
I mean, the GIMP was always brought in carried or on a very he was cheated on the way in, on the way out, but while in doing the gig he was totally mistreated.
From a king to a slave.
It's quite interesting why people did that. I mean, they went naked. And we had one stage where the one GIMP had full of a razor wire on his head, and he got beaten up, and he came after the gig, he came into the change room with a smile from here to here and blood running down, and he was just sort of totally ecstatic. He had so much good time. So
we did inject the GIMP with vitamin B.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were getting injected with. It was like, hey, wow, we're going to get high.
GIMP fluid.